I live in a rural section of Panama, and you will hear roosters in the background. Cockfighting is a very big sport here, and my next door neighbor happens to have 40, that's right, 40 fighting cocks. It's, you may think it's irritating, but it just becomes background noise after a little while. Sort of like having your television set on while you're going about your daily business. What I want to talk about is Small World. I have quite a few Small World stories. The first one that I want to relate is actually a two-part story. I got a job as a captain of an 85-foot ketch over in Antibes, France. That's on the French Riviera between Cannes and Nice. In Antibes, there were 3 expatriate bars. There was Le Roof, which was generally a night spot, and then the Blue Lady, who was a night spot. Le Roof was another one, and Chez Charlie's Pub. What I mean by expat bars is that these were places where the common language in the bars was English, whether the person was from Great Britain, the United States, Canada, Australia, anywhere in the world where English people spoke English. They tended to congregate in one or the other of these places. Chez Charlie's was probably the most popular. And when I went there, I met a girl, one of the barmaids, named Jane. Jane was from New Orleans, and I lived in New Orleans for quite a number of years, almost 10 years. The strange thing was that when I would go do my laundry and sit outside waiting for my clothes to dry, if I looked up across the street, I looked at Jane's front door, but I never met her until we were in Antibes together. After I returned to the United States, I bought a small sailboat, and I took off for 9 months. I went down to Mexico, Belize, and Guatemala, and Rio Dulce. And in the Rio Dulce was a little town called Fronteras. Dirtbag little place, nothing to it. There was the road to Tikal, and for about a kilometer there were buildings on either side of the street. That was it. No law, just businesses, several bars, and 4 whorehouses. I'll give you a story about one of the whorehouses at a later date. Every other Sunday, they used to have cruising sailboat races, sponsored by a bar called Nirvana Express, which was owned by an pair of expatriate Germans. This one day, a friend of mine who ran a small marina there in Fronteras won the race. So I went over to the bar for the celebration afterwards. My friend came up to me and he said, Richard, somebody I want you to meet. So we went over. I want you to meet my girlfriend. So we made our way through the crowd over to where 2 girls were sitting, their backs to the crowd at the bar. And he said, Libby, he said, there's somebody here I want you to meet, a friend of mine. This girl turns around and she looks at me and she says, oh, hi Richard, what are you doing here? Well, it turns out that Libby was a little English girl who used to babysit for my friend Jane in Antibes, France. And there we were in this dirtbag little bar in a dirtbag little town in Guatemala on the Rio Dulce. It is a small world.